controlling your advisor team. My name is Bill Black. I've been a business planner since 1983. I'm a certified exit planner. I'm also founder and host of the Exit Coach radio show and podcast where I've interviewed over 1,000 business advisors. And I also frequently moderate Fridays with Vistage webinars. Today, we're going to talk a little bit about a specific area, but let me tell you about the Business Owner Situations and Solutions series. As a group here, we've talked to over 500 CEO peer groups, over 5,000 CEOs, and we've listened to what their major problems are. And I've interviewed over 1,000 business advisors on my radio shows that most business owners are too busy working to plan for their futures, and we want to help our clients take more control and become better business owners. So we've come up with this series to help you with these short videos. Today's topic is assembling and controlling your advisor team. The reason this is important is that succession and exit planning is a team sport. Your advisors are likely not used to working together, and controlling their actions can save you a lot of money. Let me explain. When you get involved in a project like exit planning or succession planning, you're going to involve tax strategies, operations strategies, financial strategies, and legal strategies. And each one of those have their own expert or group of experts that are going to come together to work for your benefit. Usually what happens is there's a struggle. There's a struggle for your attention, for your time, and for their strategy to be the lead strategy. Unfortunately, this can really cost a lot of time and money and eat up a lot of stress and create a very difficult situation for a business owner. We believe in a controlled approach where we put ourselves in the center of all of the advisors and create an organized approach that I'll walk you through that help you to just hear the best of what has to be said at the table. It starts with something called a business owner roadmap. It's a centralized planning document where basically all of the ideas and strategies are going to flow from to help the advisors work together. This is the basis of the roadmap. There's a 7-step planning process that comes into play. And it starts with getting a clear idea of what your objectives are and your current business and personal financial resources, and then working through each of the steps below that in an organized fashion. The program starts with facts and stats. So here's an example. These are all facts that your business owner advisor team will need to know to plan properly for you. For instance, a summary of your ownership and financial details, a summary of your business value, your key employees and their aspirations, and a summary of your benefits and existing business protection plans. This is an abbreviated version, but you get the idea. It's all the facts that all of your advisors need to know to move to the next phase, which is goals and objectives. We find that business owners have 3 major goals they need to work on for this particular type of a project: timing, treasure, and target. Timing is questions like, when do you want to go part-time? When do you want to go from overtime to part-time? When do you want to sell or transfer your shares or your business? How long do you have to or want to stick around after the sale? And when are you completely out of the business? What's your timing? Treasure is really more of a financial planning question. It's the answer to the question, how much do I need to get from the sale of my business after considering all of the taxes and risks? And it starts with understanding what your needs will be into retirement after you sell your business, and backing into the number, and then backing into the sale number after you consider taxes and other fees and costs of selling a business. Target is really understanding who is your ultimate sales target. Is it your child or your children? Is it your key employee or key employees? Is it all of your employees? Maybe it's an outsider like a private equity group, an investor, or a financial buyer or a strategic buyer. Understanding your target is key to getting the best from your team as far as the types of strategies you're going to need for your plan. This is the goals and objectives page. We feel that if you don't have your goals and objectives written clearly so that your advisors can understand your intentions, you're just wasting time and money. This analysis that goes into the plan is your financial needs analysis that shows exactly what you'll need to sell your company for to meet your goals. As we look at those 2 areas, the owner objectives and the business and personal financial resources, we need to see if there's a gap. Usually there is a gap between those two numbers. If there's a gap, one of the first things you need to do is start working on maximizing and protecting your business value. That's the first component underneath those first two areas of this planning. In each of these 5 areas that we're going to cover now, there are numerous strategies that might be put into play depending on your facts and your goals. For example, under maximizing and protecting business value, you can see that there are 18 strategies that are listed here, and this is just an abbreviated version. Your advisors would work together to determine what the best strategies are for your goals and your facts and your situation, and then we would add those to a short list. Similarly, if you plan to sell to an outside third party, there are going to be a list of potential strategies to consider. Now, that's going to be different than if you consider selling to an insider, like a key employee or a group of employees, maybe all your employees. Different strategies come into play. Oftentimes we find the business owners say, well, here's what I want. I want to sell it to my kids, but if it doesn't work out, I want to be ready to sell to an outside buyer. So you can see that the list of strategies that might be considered can expand just by having a plan B in place. We move over to the business continuity section, and this is an area where we feel that it's very important to start your planning, because this is where, if anything were to happen to you, this is our plan, this is our backup plan. I call it a plan C. Basically your buy-sell agreement, your management continuity, reward plan. How do you get your spouse out of the business? How do you keep your key employees in the business? And finally, there's the personal wealth and estate planning area. Once you've taken care of all the other things, if you haven't planned in this area, then you're setting yourself for a potential shock or a surprise when all of your assets are turned into cash. And again, sometimes this is the starting point. New or updated estate planning documents, personal asset protection, other strategies that might come into play to protect what you've built up. So that's a once through the overall planning process. And I think you can see that it's very thorough. The problem is there might be a lot of strategies that come into play. So what happens next? Well, you can see in the middle box where we have our person with the question mark over their head. Once we've got the plan into that draft mode, it's important to do 2 things. First of all, categorize our top 10 strategies. Now, it might be more than 10, but just for simplicity's sake, you can see that there are tax strategies, financial strategies, legal strategies, operation strategies, and sale preparation strategies involved. So now we have our top strategies. Now what we need to do is make sure that you're comfortable as the owner with the strategy playbook. It's very important that you have a clear understanding of all of the strategies that are recommended, and it's a great time to get the questions out of the way before you get to the next step, which is now getting your advisor team into a room together to go over the formal strategy list. And there are 2 steps here. First of all, do all of the advisors agree on the strategies that were selected? Sometimes we'll find that they want to change a strategy or remove a strategy or add a strategy. That's fine, as long as they don't throw all of it out. You can see that basically it's a lot easier to modify this list now than it is to come up with a new list. Second, and maybe more importantly than anything, what order should we implement these strategies in? When we have all of your advisors looking at this list, and again, maybe for the first time working together, it's very important that we're able to say, okay, now we're all here, we have all these strategies, what should we start with? Because often then they will put aside their bias towards a particular type of a strategy and say, well, my tax strategy is really important, but I can see that an operations strategy might be most important to get started with. This is where this planning really pays off. After you have that done, now you're ready to present your final plan to your other constituents, your family, your co-owners, and your employees. And finally, from that step, you're able to take action towards implementing those strategies in an organized, prioritized manner. Well, that concludes today's video. The Boss series, as you can see, it's short videos, articles, and checklists to help you tackle top issues. We have new content every week. I'm really excited about next week. We'll be talking about how to lock your keys, common strategies to reward and retain your key employees. I'm Bill Black, and I want to thank you for hanging in there for us for today's video on behalf of BarthCalderon Attorneys, where we believe in planning today for all of your tomorrows.